All right, how are you guys doing today? This is Danette Goodyear, and I am here to share with you tonight about money. I know I just said it. So you usually hear from me product stuff, business stuff, but I usually don't talk about flat out money. And I think the reason for that is, I don't know, I think I just kind of grew up that way. Like, the first time someone asked me, like, how much do you make? I thought they were so rude. That's just like so rude to ask somebody what they make, right? So I was kind of brought up that way, and maybe you think that's the same. Um, so I really don't talk about it. And I think part of the reason why is because I know this isn't all my effort, right? Network marketing is about teams of people being committed and going out and doing things. And so to talk about the money part for me is just weird and odd because I don't want people to think that think I'm doing it all by myself, because I know that's not true. So, but we're going to talk about it tonight. And the reason for that is I'm hearing that like people aren't going and looking in their virtual office and looking at the income disclosure statement that we have. And I love that we have that, by the way. We have the 2015 now, but we've only had the 2013. Before 2013 income disclosure that came out in 2014, of course, we never had anything to talk about. So what we would hear of the averages of people's salaries and things like that, total hearsay. So I was so happy to have some real numbers in 2014 to actually talk about. But that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our story, which might explain why I don't talk much about it. But we're doing it tonight. Elephant in the room is called out, and here we go. So Jim and I, we met in German class way back when at University of California, San Diego. We both studied abroad. And when we got married, Jim went to grad school 2 months later. I was working 3 jobs, one at the university full-time, and then a couple others on the side for, like no pay, because that was part to go towards my education. And so then I got recruited out to Oklahoma State for my master's, and that is how we got out towards Texas. So when that all happened, we lived apart. Our second year anniversary, we were driving out in a U-Haul. He helped drive me out and then went back, and he lived to finish up his last year at UC Santa Barbara while I was at Oklahoma State. So we have done a lot of things that we would refer to as delayed gratification, whether that's on the money side or time side or getting to do things side. We've done a lot of delayed gratification. So as that progressed, when Jim came back and I was still in grad school and teaching at the veterinary college, I remember we had $60 in the bank. And like, that's the lowest that I remember, but it was never like way high. I mean, I made $800 a month. Yeah, that's what I made, working my tail off. And of course I was in school, right? So they took care of that, but then they paid me for teaching as well. So I was appreciative, man, that was a good deal. But what I always want to tell people that, like, when they're in graduate school, and undergrad, yeah, you're still young and things like that. But even when you go to graduate school, it's not just the money that it takes to go to school. It's the money during your very high income earning potential years that you are not making. So for that time that we were both in graduate school, we weren't making anything. I mean, we were barely surviving. So it is income opportunity missed for all those years as well, right? So I remember writing a check out at our church, right? 10%, man. God says, you give and be faithful, and he'll be faithful back. So I'm writing this $6 check out thinking, I don't know what God's going to do with $6, but that's 10% of what we got. Well, I remember maybe a year later, something like that, Jim came home with a cup of coffee, like a $3 cup of coffee, and like I lost it, like totally lost it. I'm like, dude, that's like a 20th of everything we own is in that coffee cup. I mean, that's how broke we were. How crazy is that? And so thank the Lord I worked at the veterinary college and got practically free or 40-pound bags of, Iams food for all of our pets for $6. I mean, that's what fed our pets all that time. So we have delayed gratified ourselves for many, 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 many years. So when I heard of like Dave Ramsey and things, right, in terms of people kind of portioning out in envelopes what they'd have for like, this is your entertainment budget and, this is your eating out budget and things like that. We still don't do that, but I'd never budgeted anything because we just didn't have anything to budget. So we just didn't do anything, right? Because it worked all the time. So that and the free things. If you want to, I can tell you everything in Los Angeles and San Diego and Santa Barbara and, Stillwater, Oklahoma, if you're jonesing to go there, that's free to do. And free's good, not saying, but that's all we could do. So it was a tough time, but that's all we knew, right? And we were determined to make it on our own and not have, money coming in from any other places that wasn't from what we could provide. So when Young Living came into my life, I had just started my own business here in Texas doing what we call electrodermal screening. And Jim's aunt, Helena, had introduced me to Young Living, just saying, hey, you want to smell this? Isn't this great? And so in January of 2003, she called me and said, hey, Gary Young's going to be in Dallas, and he's that oil guy, and maybe you should go hear him. And so I went by myself, and I was hooked that night. Hook, line, and sinker, man. I was on my way to France. And 3 months later, I was on my way to France with people I did not know. And the ground war had started in Iraq 2 weeks before, and the French hated Americans, and my flights were canceled, and it was crazy. So even getting there was a lot of hoops. But somehow I knew I was supposed to go. So while I was there, we would work all day in the fields. And we did for about 10 days, and there were only 7 of us there. And we'd eat together, and then Gary would teach us. And I knew it was special, but I just didn't know how special. So that's where I just started learning, the product knowledge and things. Fast forward many years, I was working in my clinic, having great clients come in, and I would share the oils with them. And because they would come in with issues, and some of the things like issues that we could deal with like right there because of the oils. And I'd have them smell them or put them on or something like that, and they would have a positive experience. So because I, at that point, was working out of my home office, I had very limited space. And the homeopathics and the herbals that I used, took up that space there. And so I would tell people, these other things are professional line use only, so you can only get them from me. But Young Living, you can get your own account and have it be wholesale. So that is just how I started. And so I was intentionally sharing, but I wasn't, building the business because I was working that business a cajillion hours a week and just couldn't fit anything else in. But I understood the power of network marketing. So I would keep sharing, and we had, totally different comp plans then. I've been through a few. And so that was just how it began. So I had to look these up, and it was really because I had to look up some pictures to see when I was at Silver Club. So y'all are so good at like documenting things. And because this was a secondary income, B, there was no bandwidth for me. I mean, I would teach and things, and whatever came in, I was happy about, but things were just rolling. So I had to kind of filter through some things to find some numbers, but we're going to talk real numbers here tonight, just because that's what we are here to do. And I want you to understand that this business is not for the lucky. You might think I'm lucky. I'm not. I work hard, but I have some amazing people that I get to meet on a daily basis that are also, you know, committed and love their families and want to do better and want to change the world. So this is what we're talking about here, okay? So, and well, let me go back just a sec. In the delayed gratification part, Jim and I had been married for a few years, and my dad, who had had the same job for 29 years, right? More than my lifespan at that point, he was laid off. He and 13,000 other people that were all within months of turning 50 years old were laid off by Lockheed, that they, you know, in the aerospace industry. So I saw him for 10 months, I believe, looking for a job at then 50 years old, as well as 13,000 other people that lived in the area for the same jobs. And man, that was a big wake-up call for me, that I was always on a track. I was a marine biologist for years, an anatomist, and then, you know, I had this natural health business, but I always, from that especially, thought, secondary stream of income is a good idea to be grooming at any time. And this was definitely something I could do part-time and, you know, on the side, and maybe something would come out of it, but at least I was getting my products paid for. That was a good deal because we used all the products. And in fact, you know, we had nothing of the product line compared to what we have now. So I was still having to go buy my laundry soap and my dishwashing detergent, and we had toothpaste at that time, but not a lot of the other products, right? So how terrific that we have such opportunity now, and that secondary income, if you want it to be, can become your first income. And maybe your spouse's first income too. Who knows? You don't ever know, you know? Well, you do, you work hard, but I want you to know that this is for you. You can do this. So in January of 2003, I got my membership, and I was just sharing, and I loved the products, and I always had oils on me, and nobody knew what an essential oil was, seriously, till about 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, that's the truth. And so I would still be sharing, and people would have good things, but it was slow. I mean, if you had 5 new people in a month, that was a huge month. And I'm talking your whole organization, not just people you enrolled. So that was huge. That was a huge month. So in July of 2008, I went to Silver Club. So somewhere in there, I hit silver. So 07 or 08, right? So 4 or 5 years after getting my membership and sharing. I mean, I had experience right off the bat in France, right? So it was an amazing time in there that I get to Silver Club. I was the youngest one there by far. There were about 40 people there, and that was including spouses. So I just couldn't believe what Young Living was able to give us at that time. Man, they gave us a bottle of shampoo, a shower gel, and a lip balm. I thought I'd gone to heaven. Nobody had ever given me anything like that. So it was an amazing time. So then in between 08 and 2011, somehow I decided I needed another degree. And so I got my naturopathic doctorate in there while I'm working my clinic full time, and somewhere in there, Young Living. And so I was just, and I'd had some major health challenges with my neck, and it was kind of crazy. Anyway, in January 2011, I got my degree for naturopathic, and I was just chomping at the bit to start building, because I was starting to have people like April Pointer come along and say, hey, I want to start building. And I just didn't have any more hours in the day to do anything. So when that hit, man, I finished that degree and I was like, here we go. I'm going to start doing monthly classes and all this kind of stuff, right? So that's what we did. So that was 2011. So I think about 2012-ish, I hit gold. Now, if you look at today's income disclosure, that silver check, I want to say my silver check was something when I hit that maybe 1,200 or so, right? Well, my first check was in the 50s, like $53 or something. And I was thinking, shoot, Walmart hadn't sent me a $53 check for shopping at their store. I was pretty fired up, and I was thinking, so how does this happen? How does this work? So let me figure that out. right? Let me become a student of my own business. That would be smart. So I figured that out. And once I hit executive and then silver, it was about $1,200 a month. So now, right now, a silver averages about $2,000 a month, $2,200 a month. It says on the income disclosure. So a lowest is 439, and that's someone who's not doing anything, and the highest is 27,000. So 2,200, but that's a good average for that silver. So somewhere in there, I hit gold, and I want to say it was $6,000, and $6,000 is an average gold check. And for $6,000 a month, that is a good little second business on the side, or a good first business full time, right? I mean, that's a good amount of money, right? So that's what, 72 a year. That's good income, right? For a gold level for this company. So then in 2013, I hit platinum, and actually went in my virtual office and was ferreting through some stuff to figure out. I think my first platinum check was around 8,000, and it grew to about 18,000. Each month would get a little more. In April of 2014, I hit diamond, and that was, and I say that I was working with, great people that were working hard, and they were growing too, right? So when people are hitting senior star, executive, silver, and gold, like that sings to me so much more than me hitting a rank. Let me just tell you. I mean, it's great to hit the rank, don't get me wrong, but what I really love to celebrate are our people hitting things like that. Those are huge. Those are things that change people's lives. So in April of 2014, I hit diamond, and that check was $25,000 for that month. That was money like I'd never thought I'd ever see outside of an annual bottom line, but not a monthly check. So that one grew, and of course these were, 2014, things were really cooking. This is when now people started knowing what essential oils were, and things were really growing. So that check, the average diamond makes $38,000 a month. And so, mine started at 25, went up to 60-ish or something like that. The 29th of May last year in 2015, I hit crown. That was my very last day in my office. I'd sold my business, my other business, and that very last day, within 2 hours of walking out of that office, was the night we hit crown. And that was kind of at the height of it right then. And that check was $92,000. The average crown check is $74,000. So ours definitely can fluctuate in there depending on the month, right? And if people, and sometimes people don't hold at a rank, right? But that's what I always want people to do. At least, hold their rank and get back to that rank and then be growing from there. So that is what we want for you so badly. We have so many great leaders in just our business alone that are Royal Crown Diamonds. Do you know what a Royal Crown Diamond makes a month? Average, right? Not the high and the low, but the average is $141,000 a month. What could you do with that? Right? That annual amount of money would blow me away. So when that 25,000, I remember getting a check for $35,000 in Diamond World there. And I thought, oh my heavens, out of graduate school, this is the check. This is what they were offering me at the Smithsonian Institute at the Natural Museum of History in DC, which is one of my favorite museums ever. They offered me a really good job for $35,000 a year. And talk about a ceiling, right? Because that's a government job. So you have a ceiling, a GS2, a GS3, a GS4. You cannot make any more money. Doesn't matter how hard you work. So I understand the value of, if I'm working hard, but I'm working hard and doing what? Pouring into people. That is what I get to do for a living. How great is that? And teach about great products and great purpose and great wellness. I mean, it is just a terrific lifestyle, right? I mean, the money is terrific, and we've gotten to do some amazing things that we never thought we'd get to do, right? Support ministries that we love and have always wanted to invest in, investing in missionaries and what they're called to do, investing in animals. We've gotten to do some really fun things, building areas that for animals in need and different things like that. We love that. And how great, I was just hearing at church today that the #1 killer of children in like third worlds is bad water. Like more than AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria combined is bad water. So I'm like, I cannot wait to write a big old honking check for somebody to go, so close. For somebody who's called to go dig those wells. I want to fund that. Don't you want to fund that? So, you know what our check tells me every month? Our check tells me how many lives we're affecting. How many homes are being helped? How many people are going to bed at night not stressed out about money and excited about their future and hopeful? So I want you to find a why that makes you just like so excited to share Young Living. We all love the products, right? I mean, there's no better products. And if you just had one product to share with somebody, wouldn't you share just even that one? And then they can discover some other things, right? And that's what we try to help you do. So what we want for you, we just appreciate you guys so much. Again, we know this is a team effort, and we appreciate you, and we want you to really know that this business is for you. Jim teases and says, I'm an 11-year overnight success story. Took me 11 years to hit diamond, you guys. 11 years. We have people in our business that have taken less than a year to hit diamond. So it doesn't have to take a long time, but when I look back and think, I can't believe I've been with Young Living for almost 14 years, I'm thinking, what else would I have done for 14 years to be able to not only allow us both to work from home, doing this full time and travel. And I mean, Young Living, we get to see the world, and almost always they pay for the travel. How great is that even? I mean, they treat us so much better than I treat myself on vacation, let me just tell you. So I just appreciate it so much and want that for you guys. We want to travel the world with you. We want you to live the dreams that you have and maybe have been squashed over the years. Maybe that delayed gratification is so delayed that you don't think that anything can happen again. But it can. And it can happen part-time, right? I hit Crown Diamond that last day at a part-time. And now I was working a lot of hours in there, but that was all part-time. I had another full-time job during those 13 years. So I don't want you to think, oh, I don't have time to do this full-time or anything. You can do this part-time, because there are going to be people that you're going to sponsor, that are 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 doing this full time, that do have the time, the passion, the need to do this, right? So it's not all about you, right? We love to say that. It's not all about you. It's certainly not all about me. And we just want to totally encourage you guys. There's so many needs in our community, and whatever that is for you, needs for you and your family, I want you to look at this income disclosure statement and circle where you want to be in the next 6 months, and then the next year, 2 years, 5 years. I love it when every year, I think it's a terrific goal, every year you go to convention as your next rank. I think that's a fantastic goal to have, because think of the lives you're going to change by that. So thanks for joining me. I totally appreciate you being here and listening. Go look at your income disclosure statement in your virtual office under Member Resources, okay? And know that you can do it. We're here to support you. Hope you guys have a great night.